Recently, the Environmental Protection Agency rolled back regulations on forever chemicals, which are hormone disruptors that are being found more commonly in our water supply. This is really concerning for the health of our nation, especially those most vulnerable during pregnancy, infancy, and early childhood. Now, this is a direct opposite of what the Make America Healthy, the MAHA movement, as well as our P2i Preconception to Infancy initiative, is aiming for. It's going in the wrong direction. So let's talk about it. Hey everybody, it's Dr. David. I'm a board certified pediatrician in Tampa, Florida, and we're talking about making healthy kids. So as far as this most recent change, let's talk about what happened. Now, the Trump administration narrowed the scope of 4 different forever chemicals, delaying or removing it completely in terms of this rollback, these limitations to stop them from being in our water supply. Now, by definition, a forever chemical is something that persists in our environment. It doesn't break down. That's true in our bodies as well. They accumulate, they do not break down. Now, in 2024, the Environmental Protection Agency had included them in the first ever national drinking water standards. Now, these rollbacks halts or weakens these protections. The Environmental Protection Agency back then said that the rule would reduce the exposure to these chemicals for about 100 million people. They think it will prevent almost 10,000 deaths and nearly 30,000 illnesses just from this one move. I personally suspect this number is much higher. I think it's a bigger problem. Those are the preliminary numbers. It's a problem. Now, in terms of the 4 forever chemicals and why they're concerning, these are the ones that are now going to be allowed. They're not rolling it back, at least as of right now. One's called perfluoronoic acid, and this has been linked to developmental harm, liver toxicity, immune dysfunction, and altered thyroid hormone levels. Perfluorohexane sulfonic acid. This has been associated with cancer, reproductive toxicity, liver and thyroid disruption, and developmental issues. Hexafluoropropylene oxide dimer acid. This is a new replacement chemical for PFOA, which was an older forever chemical, but the animal studies that are now coming out show that it can cause liver and kidney damage, reproductive harm, and is potentially as toxic as the older forever chemicals. And then there's perfluorobutane sulfonic acid. This also has been tied to thyroid disruption and developmental toxicity. It does have a shorter half-life than other forever chemicals, which means it'll break down a little faster, but it's still a forever chemical, which means it's still around for a long time. And especially chronic exposure during early childhood development, pregnancy, it's still a major concern. Now, the government put 4 different reasons behind this rollback. And to tell you the truth, I got problems with a lot of this, okay? First of all, they say that for the utility costs, the companies themselves, they say that the costs will be too high. They say that especially smaller and rural systems, that they said that they wouldn't be able to afford the treatment upgrades. But you know what? Federal grants can solve this. If this is not what federal grants are supposed to be for, to protect our children, our development, our future, this is the future of our country, seems like that would be a pretty wise investment. And we put these types of grants together all the time. We shouldn't be delaying these public health measures. Now, the industry is also saying that they need flexibility and confidentiality. They claim that the claim is that the industry, they want more guidance as to what they need to do, and they want more trade secret protections. But you know what? In my opinion, that's corporate spin. The Environmental Protection Agency is fully capable of issuing guidance. I bet they have it ready to go out right now. This is not something new. This has been something that's been worked on forever. And protecting private business, you know what? We do that. We know how to do that unless somebody gets hacked against. But you know what? Whether it's in my single office here in Tampa, whether it's a big corporation, protecting trade secrets, that's not something new. That's not something that all of a sudden can't be done here. Come on. Now, they also say that the Environmental Protection Agency is fearing that there could be violations of provisions of the Safe Drinking Water Act. Now, that is a legislative law signed into law as opposed to a rule by the administration, so it's not an executive order. But you know what? We seem to be seeing a lot of violations of provisions in things that have been legislatively put forth of recently in our government. So it doesn't seem as if our government has a problem with stretching those things all the time. We're seeing it left and right. So this is where they're going to put their stance when it comes to our most vulnerable population. Seems like misplaced priorities, to my opinion. Now, also, they say that there's scientific uncertainty. More time is needed to assess toxicity. Well, you know what? There's plenty of science behind this. This isn't new. This didn't just pop up. We know that these chemicals cause harm, especially during pregnancy and early childhood development. Delay will only increase the damage being done. So, being a hormone disruptor, that's not good. It's both during pregnancy, but the thyroid is such an important hormone to have right. You don't want it too much. You don't want it too little. You want it just right. There's health issues on both sides. Okay. And of course, if these are chemicals that are accumulating long term, it's not like other, heavy metals, pesticides, at least if you avoid them, you'll start to eliminate them, or most people will. That won't happen here. Okay. Now, in terms of what can be done, first and foremost, reverse this reversal. Go back to the Environment Protection Agency's limits that were put into place last year. We can do it. It was there. Rescind this reversal. Now, we can be providing federal funding to help with the water system so that they can comply and afford it. Again, we talked about this. But another thing, that chemical manufacturers should have full disclosure, transparency. So if you go to buy, and in the most commonly placed what we know are things like non-stick pots and pans. Well, there should be transparency. There should be on the label on the box. Go to their website. You should be able to know right away what you're buying and if it's toxic. Okay? And we should prioritize this. Again, we should not be delaying. Now, as I mentioned, this is a rollback of the Make America Healthy initiative. I think there's a lot of great stuff that Secretary Kennedy put out there. And this is one of them that should be on top of this list. Why are we rolling it back? And of course, the fight that I've been having for the last 20 years, our Preconception to Infancy initiative, it's a rollback. It's going backwards. We have to reduce the exposure as early as possible. So you can be avoiding it themselves if you do your homework, and you could be calling on policymakers to restore the protections and to make things more transparent. But there are also things that you can do individually that we all can do, and that I've done with our house. Now, I realize the issue is that some people can't afford this, and if it's in public utilities, that changes things a lot. But you can put a reverse osmosis system on your water, what you use for water and for cooking. You can get a system for a few $100s that goes under your sink. You can put activated carbon filtration that are granular or blocks, and that can actually filter all of the water that's going into your place. Things like for your bathtubs or showers or for when you're brushing your teeth. Now, of course, you may not be able to do that for an apartment or condo since it may be more central, but you can certainly put the reverse osmosis into your drinking water, so that's under the sink. Another thing that you can do is you can look for filters that are certified by NFS, ANSI, and it's called the Standard P43. Standard P43, and that's specifically for the forever chemical reduction. So there are things that we can do. There are things we have to do. Protect your family, you can do it. But it shouldn't be up to the individual. There's way too many people who don't know about this, who can't afford this. Why are we not protecting everybody? We can do it. So I hope there's a change. We don't need to be going backwards. It's a shame. Have a nice day.